That's why you're charged with a grand theft auto. And I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not trying to fool you. You're opening up to me, and I'm opening up to you. Okay, that's the reason you're charged with that.
Tonight, we're following new developments in the disappearance of Nassau County woman Joleen Cummings. An arrest, we know, has now been made. Now authorities are trying to track down exactly where Kimberley Kessler was in the previous months. They say that she's been living a double life.
50-year-old Kimberley Kessler disappeared from Butler, Pennsylvania in 2004. 8 years later, her mother reported her missing to Pennsylvania State Police. In 2013, Kessler made her way to the First Coast using a fake name and a fake social security number. Kessler went by Jennifer Seibert, which according to an online database matches the name of a woman buried in the same area she disappeared from. We confirmed she worked at Tony and Guy Hairdressing Academy in Jacksonville from September to April of 2014. During her time in Jacksonville, police discovered Kessler's fake identity, and she was wanted by police on grand theft auto charges. Well, last week, the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office arrested her, and she was booked into the Nassau County Jail May 19th.
This video contains the interview of Kimberley Kessler, who is suspected in the death of Joleen Cummings. On May 13th, 2018, 34-year-old Joleen Cummings was supposed to meet her ex-husband to pick up her 3 children. She never arrived. The next day, her mother reported her as missing. She had last been seen on the 12th by one of her co-workers at Tangles Hair Salon. On May 16th, people discovered Cummings' vehicle abandoned in a Home Depot parking lot. Security footage was examined, and while they expected to see Cummings exiting her car, they were surprised to recognize the co-worker that had last seen her, Jennifer Seibert. The case became stranger when they uncovered the fact that Jennifer Seibert was actually Kimberley Kessler. Kessler had been reported missing by her mother in 2012, although she had already been missing for 8 years. Piecing together her movements, police found that Kessler had 18 aliases and lived in 33 cities across 14 states. Further discoveries sparked by online discussions revealed that Kessler had been using aliases for years before her disappearance. The question was raised whether or not Cummings was just one in a long line of victims.
Are you sleepy?
No, not at all.
Okay. I am. I'm sleepy. My name's Wayne. This is Charlie.
Hey.
We want to talk to you for a few minutes. What name do you want me to call you? Because I was talking to the detective that drove you up, and he said I might have been calling you by the wrong name.
That's funny that St. John's didn't tell you. When you run my fingerprints through, they come up as Kimberley Lee Kessler. I was born in May of 1968, May 9th. I am 50 years old. I've been running from the FBI for over 25 years. I've been living under this particular alias since 1999, so not quite 1999. This is 18, yeah, about 19 years. And that's about it. So I would prefer to be called Kim.
Okay.
But
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm calling you by your right name.
But if you run them through, I mean, the last time I got picked up was back in 1999, and I bonded out, and it took them, I don't remember, it was a couple weeks, I don't know if it was 2.5 weeks or 3.5 weeks before they actually, matched them up. Yeah, it didn't but that was 1999, so maybe it was a little bit slower then.
Okay.
But I don't know, there's lots of people on the face of the planet, so maybe it still takes time. I'm not sure.
And it may be too that since you've had this alias for so long, you've probably done a lot of stuff since that time, and so you've actually kind of got you've got a history under that name, so it probably shows up in different databases and stuff like that. And that's just a guess, and maybe that's why it's happening like that.
Oh no, fingerprints are fingerprints.
Fingerprints are fingerprints, and I agree. but I haven't.
I didn't erase them with acid, so they are the same. Just saying.
And I agree with you, but I haven't run your fingerprints. And if St. John's did, they failed to notify us that of the different names. So I apologize for
perhaps
that.
they just thought I was a nut job, so they just ignored me. But it will eventually come up. So.
Kessler is oddly confident and seems proud that she has been on the run for so long. It doesn't even deflate her when she learns that no one has really noticed until now.
Call you Kim.
Okay, thanks.
If you deal with Kim, we'll call you.
Yeah, my
Kim.
mom's name, she's Connie Kessler. She's up in Butler, Pennsylvania. I have a brother, Robert Charles Kessler, a sister, Sarah Sarah Jacqueline Halsey Kessler, Kessler Halsey. Halsey's her
Does
name.
your family know you, or you don't want your family?
I haven't. No, that's fine. I haven't talked to them in a while. I have cousins and all that. All my people are.
Do you not want to spend time with them anymore, or just?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm ready to go back to being myself. I spent, about 25 years running from the FBI and thought I could build like a life for myself, and I've done nothing. I've been living in, I've been trying. I've been living in my car for the last over 2 years.
Okay.
It's not getting any better.
I would like to know, and I'm not the FBI, I'm not a federal law enforcement agent or anything like that, but, I kind of like to hear the background of why, for the last 25 years.
Pull it all up. Pull it up on the computer. Pull my name up. Pull it up. Kimberley Kessler.
And I'll
you
do
should
that.
be able to pull that up.
What I'll do
It'll
is
be fascinating.
if you'll give me a minute, I will step outside, and my crime analyst is actually here, and I'll give her that information and let her work on that.
Yeah, Kimberly Lee Kessler. It's kind of
Okay.
a silly middle name, isn't it? It's like my mom stuttered. I'm just saying, I never really cared for it. Her name, actually, she has 2 birth certificates, but only 1 social security card. And her father named her Constance Lee, like constantly. Her mother hated it. Her mom
See, if
hated
you
it.
had to explain that, I wouldn't have got it. If you had
Her
to
mother,
explain
my
it.
granny, flipped over that. So my grandfather named her Constance Lee Schmidt, is her maiden name. And then my grandmother named her, her name's going to be Constance Roberta Schmidt. So that's her maiden name, but it's Constance Schmidt Kessler.
So do you plan on going back and reuniting with your family, or you haven't decided, or what?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just
this
time. I'm
decision just
50
made?
years old. I am 50, and
I
I'm
don't think
just...
that's quite.
It doesn't matter. Looks are deceiving, obviously. Some people look young, some people look whatever. It doesn't even
You
matter.
have any children?
I do. I have a son. He is in North Carolina with his father. That's what got me going, running again in 1999. Child Protective Services snatched him while I was at work from the babysitter, and that really sent me over the edge. So, thankfully, his father got him. He told me that the judge told him, or that the judge said to CPS, "Why won't you give this man his son? Like, why are you fighting against him?" And the judge made him get our son. And so thankfully, my son is 20 years old now. I haven't seen him since he was 14 months old. I'm very grateful that his father got to raise him. I did not want him in foster care. It scared me to death. I couldn't even understand why they took him. So that set me on my last 19-year run. He was born in 1998. My son is Evan Everett Brooke, and I was under the name Christina Brooke at the time. Yeah, the names go on, don't they?
Wow.
And 25 years. I mentioned I've been running from the FBI. They'll have a list of everything. So
How long have you been cutting hair?
I've been cutting hair since I was a kid, but I actually got into the professional with a license 4 years ago.
I guess that works well if you're moving around a lot. I guess it's
No,
pretty
you
easy
can
to-
wait tables or whatever. I have driven tractor and trailer, which I did in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Did I mention I'm wanted in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Arizona? I also had a real estate license in Arizona. It goes on and on. I didn't really sell anything though. Here's the thing. It's just, I guess it requires I just thought that, okay, so my grandparents on my father's side of the family made a lot of money.
In real estate, or?
No. No. Actually, estate sales. Lots and lots and lots of money. Unbelievable amounts. And I just thought to myself, I'm going to make money. Well, no. It requires a special blessing from God. It also requires help. What I noticed in the last 25 years of being on my own, especially after my son was taken, I didn't let anybody get really too close to me. I did get into abusive relationships. That was foolish. And then I really kept everybody at arm's length, but never really let too many people get close to me. It is virtually impossible to take care of oneself by yourself. You can't do it.
It's funny because
You gotta have somebody. You gotta have a wife, or you gotta have people. You can't do it by yourself. So
it's amazing though that for 25. I mean, it's amazing to me that because you always hear about people going, oh my gosh, I just want to start over. I just want to be somebody else. I just want a whole new identity.
No,
but then if you
work.
ever really look into it, I mean, it's
Complicated.
It's complicated.
It's very
stuff.
complicated. It's very complicated. So
The detectives played to Kessler's vanity by emphasizing how hard it is to completely start over in a new life. Kessler basks in the attention and overshares personal information.
Yeah.
What is your son? Now, were you married to the guy that you had?
No.
Okay.
No.
So do they know that you're? I mean, where did they?
They
think
know
you
I'm
are?
running. They
Oh,
know I'm
okay, so-
running. He's
okay.
probably angry about it. I gave him, before I left, all I had to give him was an old Volkswagen Bug that I had. I was driving this. It was nice. Like they
What
had
year
a
did
nice.
you have?
The year Bug. It was like I don't know. It's all put together. So I think it was on the title maybe a '68 or something like that. It had a bus engine in it, 1776 dual Delardo car, blah blah blah, whatever. But it was nice, like cute or whatever, but shiny. And
Now
I
the
gave,
68s,
That's-
was that a split window? Was it a split?
I
split
don't
window
remember. All I
Volkswagen?
remember was it was blue.
We
And I,
used to-
and I could never do any work on it myself at all.
When I was-
Nothing. I couldn't even change the oil. Like, it complicated. It was
They're different.
And
It's got
adjusting
that
valves?
air-cooled engine, you know, and
quarter turn. What? I never understood
yeah.
it.
We used to when I was in high school. Back when bugs are kind of rare now, you don't see them. They're actually but back then.
Well, this
it
was
required
this
to
bug was
around-
from Arizona. That's
Yeah.
where, so it was preserved.
So
They
it's
had a-
preserved, so it didn't have any
No
damage
rust.
from the salt or rust. Because we used to make what they call the Baja Beach.
Oh yeah,
bugs,
those are cute with the big fat tires
Because
in
you
the
know, when I
back.
grew up near the ocean, you know, we had the big tires on and everything.
Yeah,
So.
put the little like exhaust straight up in the air. Or whatever.
Exactly.
Or maybe bend it over in case it rains so it doesn't go down. But
Gotta put a can on it.
yeah, I've seen that too.
Stinger pipe, that's what they call them.
That's one of my first relationships in Arizona. He robbed banks, and I met him. I was working as a topless dancer, and that was before my truck driving debut. So, and I did that just for a little while. I love to dance, and I don't know. I was young, and you know. It didn't bother me, but then it bothered me. I'm like, what am I? You know, it like starts to wear on you. Like you start to feel like dirty, and I'm like, man, I can't do this anymore. But so I met him at a topless bar in Phoenix, and just started going out with him and whatever. And he was with me whenever he called somebody, and they said the FBI is looking for you. And he's like, oh my god. And then he tells me everything. Oh, I robbed these banks. So I'm like, you what? Like,
Wow.
Here's me. Where's the money?
So
He had no money, and I hid him in my apartment, and that was like kind of almost the beginning.
are you going to write a book one day?
I don't even know if anyone believes me,
You gotta
but the
have-
FBI has a record, so you know it's true. Okay, look it up. It sounds like a bunch of crap. Look it up. They have a record. It's true.
You got an interesting story. That's
But he had where I was going with that. He had a Baja Bug. So.
wow. So was that, and you said that was when it all first started. Is that when you kind of first went on the run?
No, I had two IDs at the time. I had myself and then my other ID, and I kind of started. I got my real estate license, and then that's when it started because I used my other ID and I got printed. And I had been printed once before. What was I printed once before for? I don't know. Pull it up. It's kind of like just pull it up.
Well, you've done pretty good being around for
25 years, thank you.
It's tiring.
I'm 50, man. I'm like,
It's got to be tiring though. You know, it's like.
Where's your favorite place at? Obviously, you travel around a lot.
I traveled a little bit. I don't know. See, like I was always like looking for that heaven on earth, but there is no heaven on earth. So, and there's no perfect place.
Especially when you're by yourself, it's got to be tough to
I mean, I'm pretty good by myself. Like I just do a lot of prayer, so I always feel like I have God with
Well,
me.
the world
But God
is.
wasn't really with me because if He was, I would have made that money. But my granny and Pat, man,
God's
they
with
made
all of
money.
us. I mean, I believe that personally. I really do.
No, well, He gives us a chance for sure.
Absolutely.
But He didn't bless me like He didn't care how hard I worked. It was like minimum wage, less than minimum wage. I'm like,
Well, if
Well,
it's
the world's changed a lot. I mean, it's
Yeah, I can't even-
nowadays. I mean, you can't even have God in school, which is, I mean, ridiculous.
you can't even do what again? I'm sorry.
You can't have God in schools, anymore, and that's plumb ridiculous. And the world would be a whole lot better place if
Well, yeah, that
people
is
would,
like
seek out their religion.
that's
like
the
they should.
design of things to continually get worse. I mean, there's no way to get to Revelation without it. You know what I mean? Like, and all that has to come to pass. Regrettably, not looking forward to it, hoping to dip out in some way, shape, or form. In a
Yeah.
proper way. I want to dip out the proper way,
Absolutely,
not in the wrong way. Because if I
absolutely.
dip out the wrong way, it's not going to be good. So, But yeah, I don't look forward to it. But I mean, I was watching some stuff on YouTube because I've been, I told you YouTube. But some of these people are talking about the chips being out, and some of the elderly folks, they were chipping them because they had maybe Alzheimer's or whatever. Mm-hmm. And just the things that these old people said, and it just kind of shocked me. And I'm like, there was a time when I was younger, I'm like, I think, of course, 25 years.
Kessler acts as if she is sharing stories over drinks with friends rather than being interrogated by the police. She's almost proud of her criminal history and desperately wants them to look her up to see why the FBI wants her.
From the FBI, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll take the chip, and I'll go home and I'll take the chip out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure ways around it, right? Yeah. Well, from what I heard on something on YouTube, they said that there's something in that actual chip that changes or alters the DNA so that you can't take it out. That's what makes it, because if you read Revelation, when he talks about that, it doesn't say that anybody took the chip out and like changed their mind and got saved. It just says once they took the mark of the beast, that was it. I'm like, well, why can't it be? Why can't they just repent? Well, it's because it actually alters their DNA, because they're playing with DNA big time. It alters it so a person can't.
I read that Left Behind series, or I got up to.
I never got to see that.
I never watched the movie, but I read almost the whole series, and this was several years ago. But it got to a point, because it was really great. It was book after book, but I almost got to the point where I forget. I got like 10 or 11 books in, and they were still making more. And I got to a point where I just felt like they were just making so much money off of them. They kept stretching out and making more books just to make more money.
I never even read it. I'm so sorry that happened. The Bible's the same though.
Yeah, it was just like
there's no extra books. Maybe the Book of Mormon.
But I just felt like they got greedy because they were a very profitable series, and they just kept making more books and just putting just fluff in there. They weren't really, so.
Sorry that they took you like that.
Well,
on their behalf. But the Bible, it's the same. You read that, and it's kind of dry. I don't know. I compare it to a vitamin. Like whenever you take a vitamin, we don't chew a vitamin up before we swallow it. We just swallow it. Right. Well, that's what I do with the Word of God. Just swallow it.
What religion do you follow?
I don't know. God, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit. I like the King James Version Bible. I haven't really put a name to me. I sometimes church hop, so it could be anything from Journey Church to the Methodist Church to Baptist. It doesn't matter.
Are you okay if I ask my crime analyst to run the name?
Please do.
Because I'm curious. Now you got my
I'm glad I sparked your interest. I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. Praise me again.
You're not joking with me, right? You're not.
Do it, please. You'll see my mug. I'll look a lot younger then.
Okay.
And thinner too. I won't be 200 pounds. I'll be about 20.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir.
I'm making any judgments. You can fit in the pants and zippers, not me.
Give me the full name?
Kimberly.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid middle name Lee. 9th, 1968, and that's all I remember. I don't know.
Hey, you remember? For 25, if you've had several.
Well, no, I'm 50, and I've had. That's me.
Guess how old I'm gonna be this year? 50.
Good for you.
And guess what day?
Big 50.
Mine is 9. I turned 50, and well, you just had a birthday.
I just did. Yeah, I just turned 50.
Mine's in September.
Okay. So, my mom was born in September. She was born September 9th.
My mom's
1948.
My mom's is September 10th.
Really? That's interesting.
I'm a September guy too.
Okay. Let me ask you this: if I want to sit here and talk to you because you're fascinating me. But if
pull up the report from the FBI.
If I'm gonna go in there and pull it up, and you're wanted by the FBI,
I am wanted by the FBI.
Okay, are you right with me Mirandizing you in case I get back here and you're wanted for something?
Sorry, what?
Reading you your rights. If you're wanted by the FBI,
go
I'll
ahead.
come back in and talk to you.
Fine.
Okay,
pull
awesome.
me up, please.
But I got 3 questions I got to ask you that's on the form before I do that. Okay. The first one is, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol right now?
No.
Okay.
I don't do drugs.
All right. The second one is, can you read and write the English language?
I can.
Okay. And the third one is, how many years of school did you complete?
Quite a few, actually. Okay. High school, of course, and college here and there, and then more college here and there. I took my GED, guess how many times? Like 3 different times, and passed for each different name, like different names I was under.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
and obviously you went to some kind of trade school at least, or something. If you got
trade school. I did. I drove tractor and trailer for Schneider. That was back whenever they'd actually put you up in a hotel for I can't remember, it was 6 weeks, and put you through the training, paid training.
Did you do that here locally, or?
I did that up in, I was in Virginia, lived in Virginia at the time, and I went to, I think it was it Charlotte, North Carolina? Is where I took the classes at for Schneider. They were, God bless them, you know, they paid you, you know what I mean?
One of the benefits of allowing Kessler to lead the conversation is that she drops locations and the names of places she was enrolled or employed. This gives the police an easy way of tracking her, not only for evidence in this case, but to see if there are any other crimes she needs to be charged with.
But it's all in the dispatcher. She didn't give me good loads. I wasn't making money, so I mean,
My dad drove a truck for a few years, and it was always kind of his dream to be a truck driver. He was like, I want to see the nation.
Yeah.
And he did it for 4 or 5 years and absolutely hated it.
if they pay you well, it's more lovable.
Yeah.
It's all in the dispatcher and the loads. I mean, some people, they make marvelous money, but she just jerked my chain, and I'm like, I quit, and I went home and got a cocktail waitress job and made rent in a week. Whereas I'm like, rent's due. I can't keep playing with this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went and slung beer and drinks and whatever in Virginia Beach, Virginia, made rent. And
that is my retirement job. I'm telling you.
You would make a great bartender.
And I want to be. And I want to
He's
work.
to be on the beach though.
But I live on the island.
Ritz-Carlton, weddings, banquet
yeah,
department,
yeah.
that'd be better.
Yeah, because I like to just sit and talk to people, you know, and it's like.
And
to
people
me,
love
you know,
stories. I mean,
yeah,
a good
yeah.
tale.
And the doctor's like, but they do it with. I don't know about the women, but the barber shop. You go to, and you know, people talk to their barber too. It's so funny how they're bartender and their barber. They'll unload all kind of problems they won't tell anybody else tell them. So I don't know if they get that with the ladies at the salon, or you may have been ladies.
Sometimes, but I don't know. I'll either try to cheer them, or or it depends. Like, or I'll say, I'm no expert. Don't ask me. I'm not trying to, because don't count on me to help anybody with a problem. I mean, I can give them advice, but that doesn't mean they should follow it.
Let me read these to you real quick, and then I'm going to walk inside and let her see if you're playing a joke on me or not.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
You'll see.
All right.
Print me.
All right. Have you ever had your Miranda rights written to you before?
Yeah, of
That's
course.
a
You'll
reason.
see.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Read to you before.
Read to you before?
Yeah.
Obviously, look at
I'm just in here to help them out. That's why I just keep an eye on them.
Okay. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to make a statement or say anything. Anything you say can or will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to speak to a lawyer and have a lawyer present with you during any questioning. And if you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, will be appointed to represent you at no cost before any question if you wish. And you can decide to exercise these rights at any time and not answer questions or make any statements. So if we come back and we start talking and at some point you decide you don't want to anymore, you can say so, okay?
No, yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
so you understand what I read to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me go drop this off. And I'll be out.
Yay, good job, gentlemen.
We'll be back with you, Kim.
All right, I'll be right here.
I'm gonna say. Wow, Kim.
I didn't lie.
Well, she's still working on stuff, but she found this right away.
Oh, my
Is that
keyboard.
you?
Yeah, that's me. I was a lot younger then. So I've taken back yeah, squinting my eyes. You know what? She wanted me to open my eyes there in Tennessee because they wanted to scan them and I wouldn't open them. See how
Really?
squinty my eyes are? The woman kept saying,
What, you
open
talking about
your
this
eyes.
one?
Open your eyes. No, this one. Open your
I was
eyes.
gonna say your eyes look open.
Open your eyes. Why
Is
not?
that a driver's license plate?
Yep, open your eyes. I wouldn't do it. I was like, kept them squinted until she finally gave in and took the picture because I didn't want my eyes scanned.
It's not.
That's me with short hair.
It's
Took
not
short
saying
hair.
that you're wanted though. It's just saying that you're a missing person. Why would you be
No,
wanted?
no. I have aliases. I have IDs. I was Christina Brooke whenever I had my son Evan Brooke.
Well,
I was
what
Melissa
name are you wanted
McKernan.
under though?
I am Kimberley Kessler. That's
No. But you said you're wanted. You've been running from the FBI. Why? What do you?
So whenever they snatched my son, I went out and bought a gun.
Okay.
And whenever I went to visit my son, I planned on taking him.
Mm-hmm.
I never made it to see him. He wasn't there anyways, and I got arrested for having a gun.
Oh, what state was that in?
Virginia. And
So-
that's when another time whenever the run began. But I also was running, let's see, so in Arizona, I used the ID Melissa McKernan. Pull it up. It should come up. Melissa McKernan, and went for the real estate license. And there you get fingerprinted. Well, I was fingerprinted once before as Kimberley Kessler for trouble I'd gotten into prior. So whenever it ran through, they're like,
I got in trouble. They were looking for me then. They're like, we show you these fingerprints come up as Kimberley Kessler, but you say you're Melissa McKernan. I'm like, So, so it started. It just goes on and on. Now, that's probably my mother saying I'm a missing person. I'm not missing. I'm just...
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Kessler can't give a concrete reason why she is wanted by the FBI. So far, all they can find out that she is a missing person and that they are at a loss why she is presenting herself as some kind of a criminal mastermind.
You know, well, like I said, she's still looking, but immediately whenever she puts your real name in, this is the first thing that popped up, and I looked at it and I said, I can see the smile, and I can kind of see it in the nose, especially in the black and white picture, because it's a little bit clearer than the one on the right. Did you have red hair at one point in time?
I did all sorts of things to my hair, of course. I'm a girl. I'm going to do that.
Wow. But like I said, I don't see where, as far as them saying you're wanted anywhere. I mean, she can run it on further out.
When you
I
got
am. I'm
arrested
wanted in
for-
Arizona for, I guess, just fraud because I am Kim Kessler and
Just
I'm
because of trying to
I
get
got
the license.
fingerprint. I did get the license.
Oh, okay.
They issued it to me, and then later they came back with fingerprints. It took longer to run through in like the early '90s. It took like months, so maybe even longer than that. And then they came back and they're like, and the FBI. They actually, I don't know how I got the message, but I called him and he was like, I'm blah 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 with the FBI, and I'm like, and he's like, are you Melissa McKernan? I'm like, yes. And he's like, well, I also show you as Kimberley Kessler. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, what did you do? And I couldn't remember. All I could say, I think all I said was like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. And I hung up on him. And then I had my boyfriend take me to the airport, and I flew back to Virginia.
Wow.
That
Well,
was
what
that.
was the charge in Virginia? Do they have a carrying? Was it just
Virginia's
concealed
probably
weapon,
for
or
the weapon thing, and then they're still trying to do something with it. They were
is
trying
it
to
illegal
take.
to have a weapon in Virginia, or just?
I think probably whenever you're going to. I plan on taking my son back. That's what I
Did you
plan on
bond
doing.
out, or did you do time?
I bonded out, so I never went back for any.
Oh, so
yeah,
you probably
that too.
You may
There's
have a
lots of
failure
things.
to. You may have a failure to appear then, or something.
That as well. But I'm just very grateful that my son went with a family member with his father because I was terrified of what they were going to do to him. I'm like, what? Why do you want my son? It made no sense. I mean, you may not believe me on that, whatever. But I'm telling you, to me as a mother, I'm like, take my son.
So
I'm
far,
like,
what you know, when we first started talking, I'm like, she's, but
No, I
obviously
am.
There's some, you know.
and that I can't believe it. Come on, you can't pull me up. Do you need
No,
to print me?
no. They're working on that. But I was
It
like,
shouldn't
that's
take
not-
that long. It's a
that's
computer.
the-
It's 2018.
Yeah, well,
It's not
we had-
1992.
I actually had to call our crime analyst back in. She was probably like, "It's Friday night." So
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, so she's probably not happy with me right now. but-
Sorry.
No, it's not. No, it's all
I
right.
told them
She'll get paid overtime.
St.
for it.
John's ignored it. I'm like, okay. Whenever I went before whoever, I told him my name is. I've been running from the FBI forever. I think I said with him only 20 years, but it's longer than that.
Was that the judge or one of the detectives down there? or
I don't know, wherever they take you in before somebody. So I was with all these other people. We stood, I guess, before a judge. But I said, my name is Kimberley Lee Kessler. My birth date, I've been running from the FBI forever.
Well, I appreciate you being honest with us.
Told him, and I think he just laughed at me. And he said something else and told me to sit down. So
He probably was like, you know, didn't believe you. He's probably thinking, you know, because we get, you know, I've been this, you know.
print me. I didn't erase it with acid. It crossed my mind, but I thought, how can I work with my hands all like?
I noticed when he asked you if you were, you know, under the influence of any type of drugs, you kind of had a disgusting look on your face. I assume there's no problems with you and drugs. Or?
No, I feel bad for people who do drugs. I am grateful that I never got hooked on drugs. I wasn't an experimenter with that. But I don't know. I don't have probably the empathy for people who do drugs that I probably should. Because friends of mine a friend of mine, his wife, I think I already shared the story. She got in a car accident back in 2002, 2004, whatever, in her Jeep, hurt her back. They put her on prescription pain meds, and that's the end of her life, basically. She's hooked. Yeah, she's hooked on drugs. She has no job. They're worried about losing everything. Their 401k, their house, their everything.
Yeah.
Over that.
It's amazing. I used to, you know, probably.
I might be running from the FBI, but I'm not hooked on drugs.
And I've seen it earned, you know, like I said, you know, I used to know a lady that worked in a very professional business, made very, very good money, never been in trouble in her whole life. She got on the opioid pain medication for a legitimate reason.
Yeah, the doctor
And
prescribed.
then in 3 years, she went from $100,000+ a year job to
McDonald's,
been
maybe.
arrested twice, and then
It ruins people.
overdosed at work and died.
Oh, because she's just probably so depressed.
It was
So
like,
sad.
it's sad.
And they don't have really have their wits about them to control that. Like if I were on drugs, I would kill myself because you don't really, you know what I mean. You're just depressed and you just take it. But I have my wits about me, so I'm like, I'm doing that. You know.
Don't mess with
Well,
it.
it sounds like even though the trials and tribulations you've been going through, at least that hasn't been.
I try to keep a good sense of humor, and I try to be, I try. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or rude or flippant. I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm just trying to keep it kind of real and light, but I'm not trying to be flippant.
Kessler admits to lacking empathy for others and quickly shifts the focus of the conversation back to herself.
Or sarcastic or anything.
Yeah.
But I am trying to keep it light because it just helps. It's laugh or cry, man. Laugh or cry. So I'm gonna choose to laugh.
So what do you hope now as far as
I am very grateful my son is alive and well. I was scared his whole life. I've been praying for that boy forever. I'm like,
is he a good dad? How old's your son now?
He's 20. His dad, he's alive, so I'm grateful. And I'm not trying to, God bless him.
Yeah.
The last words I spoke to his dad, I gave him that Volkswagen Bug. He was talking about, I can't remember what he was talking about, that one of the last times I talked to him. And he said he slowly got the money. And I'm like, did you get Evan? He said, no. I said, what? I said, did you get Evan? And he said, no. And I said, I gave you that Volkswagen to get Evan. I said, you better get Evan, so help me God, I'll kill you. And he got Evan. And then I never really talked to him again. He had Evan and he raised him. And Evan's 20 years old now. I'm like, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord. But I think Tim's hooked on opioids.
What's Tim do?
He works on Volkswagen Bugs. So
Oh,
that's how I
okay.
met him. So, but yeah, he did get Evan, and I'd never talked to him that way before, so maybe it shocked him.
But, it takes a lot of, and what really interests me is, you fascinate me. I'm going to tell you, because this is like, I'm like,
I love my
that
son.
kind
I
of guy.
love him. I'm very grateful he's alive and well. I was so scared his whole life. You have no idea. His dad has his problems, and I'm not going to say anything bad. I'm going to try not to say anything bad about him because I'm very grateful that he went and he got him. I'm very grateful, and he held on to him and raised him. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So that for those alone, I'm just grateful.
Oh, yeah.
But you were saying, and I interrupted you.
No,
Sorry.
I was just, to me, it's just, and I know, and I shouldn't use the word interact. We're talking about your life, and obviously there's been struggles with it, but I'm just, it's interesting to me.
Absolutely.
It's just, and to me, it takes a lot of guts to go, okay, I'm at the point where.
That's it. I'm 50 years old. This is it. I'm done.
I'm tired. Because, I have this conversation with people a lot, and they'll go, after this, because normally when I have somebody in here, they're in pretty serious trouble. And they're like, "This is it," I'm gonna come clean and turn it around. And honestly, 1 out of 100 is usually what I see that really make that decision. With you got to have a tremendous amount of intestinal fortitude because you're like. To do what you've been doing for the last 25 years,
And all
you're
the stuff.
strong.
And it wasn't easy
But-
because my childhood was, not to give the old childhood story, but my childhood was like, my mom is something. She nearly killed me, that woman. She used to beat us until we stopped crying.
Really?
So yeah, I can control tears. I can control tears to the point of extreme amounts of pain. Because that's what I've been, that's how she does it. I've seen some horrible things too that she did. It was like really kind of mean, but at any rate, so that's how I was raised. So,
Well,
and I was an honor roll student. I went to high school up until like a month before I was supposed to graduate, and then something terrible befell me that I never was expelled or got any. Never even got detention. I was an honor roll student. I was a cheerleader, but my mom started like acting crazy on me, and I started hanging out with the crowd that would take me in, which is what we called back in the 80s. I graduated, or would have graduated in 86. The burnout crowd, because their parents are lenient. My mom threw me out there like, yeah, you can crouch over here. Heck yeah, I'm tired, it's cold, I have no coat, I gotta be at school. And I dropped out all my higher classes, the calculus and all that. I dropped out of everything and took like
What state were you in high school?
Pennsylvania. So I took the lower classes, home ec. You know, like stuff where you don't have to do homework, or very rarely. You know, I took all the easy classes. I had everything I needed to graduate. I just needed to make it. So I took everything easy, lots of study halls, because my mom was acting crazy. I'm like, so I could, you know, I didn't miss school, but I didn't have much required of me when I made it. So that was easier.
You know, when my senior year in high school, I graduated in '86 as well.
Of course, because we're the same age.
Yeah, and I had all the required courses I needed except for one. I needed literature.
What?
And I had everything. And so,
I took that in ninth and 10th grade.
And so my senior year, I had literature first period. The rest of the day, I was like, I had shop. I was a coach's aide. I had weightlifting. I had just totally.
Why did you take easy classes?
And I loved it. It was a great senior year. But I got to tell you, when I went to college, I regretted it because I had never taken. And it sounds weird.
So much.
We never had to have algebra to graduate when I graduated high school. I don't know if it was that
I took algebra
but we didn't have to have it here. And when I went to college, I'm telling you, the only class stand between me and my college degree is algebra because it just kicks my ass.
It's not bad.
Seventh
grade algebra.
As Kessler recounts her past, one has to wonder how accurate her stories are. She has definitely exaggerated the FBI's interest in her, and it is hard to tell if she is deliberately blowing things out of proportion or if she actually believes these things herself. In everything she says, there is probably a grain of truth, but only an investigation will be able to give the full picture.
Algebra, 8th grade, Algebra 2, 9th grade, geometry, and then I was supposed to be calculus, 10th grade, and that's when she started acting whack, and I'm like, I'm not going to drop out of this.
That's what got me was math, too.
I like math. It represents numbers, money.
Some people have a mathematical type brain, and some people just. That's my opinion. Not and I can do normal math, but
you can do it. You just didn't want to.
You
could have done it. You could have done it. You could have done it. This is what I did in college because I ended up taking pre-calc, I guess, or whatever, and I would do the homework like 2 and 3 times, like do it over, write out. And again, until I kind of memorized it, I guess, until I felt comfortable. And then by the time I took the test, I had all the whatever formulas kind of in my brain, so I would get an A. And there were kids in the class way smarter. They had this IQ that was like a nuclear bomb, right? Huge. And they were failing. I'm like, are you kidding me, jokers? Because it was. But I mean, it was just kind of brute memorization, repetition, writing something on the chalkboard 50 times or 100 times, just over and over. But it got me through it. So I mean, if I can do it, I know you can do it. You just didn't feel like it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I didn't feel like in high school. I should have, because if I'd been in high school when I was younger, and it would have. They say when you're younger it's a little easier to learn. I don't know if that's true or not, but
always get a tutor.
And I'm going to go back and kick that algebra ass one day. It's on my bucket list to.
If I did it right, I would
finish
have
that out.
graduated in summer school. But I'm a summer school graduate.
Good for you.
But and you talking about tired of running and turning things around. It sounds like to me if anybody could do it, you could probably.
What's the next chapter for you? I mean,
I don't even know. I am so grateful my son is alive and well. You don't have any idea. I was so scared. His dad, no one's perfect, right? So, I don't know. We all have our whatever. There's some stories I could probably tell that he told me that with his sister-in-law that I couldn't believe, and I saw it on the news later. Whoa, curl some hair. I might hold that back for the FBI. Unbelievable, because after I saw it, years later, because I don't have a TV and I see it on the internet or whatever, and I'm like, I remember him telling me about that. They really did that. Oh my God. Did you ever have that?
Well, you may have some stuff that you can help out with that can help you with the situations you're in. I
don't know, but I'm grateful my son's alive and well. I'm so grateful. So grateful. And his dad, one of the things his dad did whenever Evan was 3 months old, and I don't even know why. I think he was on drugs. He always said he wasn't, but he acted so wild. And
your son's name's Evan, right?
Yes, Evan, and his dad's name's Timothy Everett Edwards, and Evan's name is Evan Everett Brooke, and I was going by Christina Brooke at the time. So, at any rate, his dad took us, and he was just acting kind of crazy, and he's like, give me Evan. It was at night, and I'm like, for what? Like, he was never even interested in the baby before. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, for what? Like, give me the baby. I'm like, for what? And he goes to like grab him, and I'm like, he's 3 months old. You can't wrestle over a 3-month-old. They're fragile.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And he just took his head and like pushed it up, and I didn't want to like resist because it's the baby, and he pushed his head into my head. Not very hard, but it made him cry. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, he just did that. And it was the only thing that he ever did that, you know, was like nasty, but I'm like, I'm going to call the police. You need to go. What is wrong with you? And he was just kind of, but here's the thing. Evan's alive and well. He didn't kill him.
Do you plan on trying to reconcile with Evan?
That's my baby. That's my son. That's my only
When's the last time you saw
child.
him?
He was a baby. I don't know,
You gotta-
14
you gotta-
months,
you gotta
15
wanna
months.
see him. I mean, you
I have pictures on the iPhone of him, a couple of them that I found on the internet. So, but yeah, I haven't seen him since he was a baby, and I'm grateful.
You need to go see him.
I-
Every kid, let me tell you something.
He
I go
knows-
by and see my mom
knows I
almost
love
every
him.
day. I know he does, but listen, I go by and see my mom almost every day after work because my dad turned 84 this year. His health is not good. My mom she will be 78 this year, and she's
God
just
bless
beginning
her.
to slow down. But I'm like, I try to go by and see them every day after work if I can, and I can't always do it because I'm like, you know, I'm running out of time to go by and see them, you know, especially with my dad, you know, and you know, so I always try to. And so you need to try to see Evan. I mean, I know there's a lot of shit going on in your life, but you.
Kessler only seems to really care about her son in relationship to herself, but that is consistent with the way she views other people in general.
What else is new? I'm used to it now. My dad passed away when I was young, and that was one of the hardest things. I wish if I could go back in time, that's one thing, if I could change it, I would. I'd somehow save him. He died right before I turned 21, so I was 20. At the time I was working in a restaurant, but before that I was bartending for a while. But I ended up having to settle that. My mom divorced him right before he died, and he loved that woman. She's not a nice woman, okay? I had to settle the estate myself, bury him myself. I had never done any of that before. I love my dad. I had hyperventilated and cried for over a year.
I'm going to be in a basket case, and I'll tell you, I have dealt with death my whole career, and I have had the unfortunate opportunity to tell 100 people that or more that their loved ones are gone, and I can do it because it's my job. But when it comes down to, you know, I see all these people all the time. It's like and they're like, "Are you going to speak at your dad's funeral?" Like, "Are you kidding me? I won't be able to hold my head up," you know, or my mother for that even matter. I just, you know, but you need to. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to give you advice.
No.
I'm just saying, I'm just telling you, when it comes to family,
to.
I'm all about, you know, and I'm fortunate because it sounds like you had some problems with family, but I, you know, we didn't have money, but I was truly blessed that my mom and dad are, you know, great parents. You know, we didn't have name brand, but we had clothes and we had
they
food.
were clean, and
it didn't matter how many jobs they had to work to make it happen. You know?
Have you talked to Evan?
No. He hasn't seen me, and I haven't seen him since he was a baby. So, no. And who knows what his dad put in his head, you know what I mean? So, here's the deal. In 2015, after I got my cosmetology license in 2014, I didn't have a car yet, I just had my motorcycle, up to North Carolina, rode my motorcycle. Hold on, I'll answer maybe 21 questions. Let me tell my little story that is boring to you, sorry. So I went up there, and I planned on seeing him. I wanted to see him. I wanted to somehow like get a job in a barbershop or Great Clips nearby, and, you know, maybe somehow get involved in his life. But that's when I broke my leg, and then I ended up having to go up to, you know, Minnesota because they have free health insurance. And then I came back to Florida because I couldn't afford, like, I tried North Carolina again, but the state income tax is too much. And I had a car at the time to live in, but it just, It's just too hard. It's just way too hard. But I was hoping to somehow get involved in his life. But, you know.
It's not too late.
Well, now I'm like, okay, I'm on the map again. I'm on the grid. Hi. I'm not going to do it discreetly as, you know, Jennifer or whatever. But
Speaking of on the map, do you know why you're here?
yes, I'm being accused. You accused me the other night of, you're like, where's Jolene at? So, and I do not know where she is.
After nearly an hour, Kessler is finally asked if she knows why she's being interviewed. When she answers that she does, she tries to sound shocked by the accusation against her.
I have
Because
no
that's,
idea.
you know, and the other night, and I think I apologized to you the other night because, you know, when I talk to you and tell you that family means a lot to me, you know, a couple days ago I met Jolene's two sons, and I mean, they were literally, I call it, and it's probably not the best term to use because people will look at it and go, that's kind of a prejudice statement, and I don't mean it that way, but, you know, my mom, when I was a kid, she'd say, stop running around like a wild Indian. I mean, that's what it reminded me of, because her two little kids were just, literally, I'm standing there, and one of them's running between my legs, just running around, and they're all over the floor, and I'm like, you know, they were running around like wild Indians. I don't mean that in a negative way. And it was just, you know, it broke my heart, because I was like, you know, where is she? It's, you know, she had been reported missing. They said, you know, there's no way that she's not going to be with her kids. And so I probably come across harsh when I talked to you the other day. And for that, you know, I didn't mean anything by it, but like I said, I want to know, I want to be able to find her, and I want to be able to get her back with her little boy. It's just like, you need to go and be with Evan, she needs to be with her kids, okay? So again, if I come across, you know,
You're just doing your job. I understand.
But it's more, it is my job, but at the same time, I try not to let your, you know, in my job, you try not to let your emotions get involved, but sometimes even, I've been doing it for 21 years, sometimes I let things get to me that I shouldn't let get to me, and at least until later on when I'm not trying to have a conversation with somebody.
Well,
you kind of put those things to the side and you worry about them later, and maybe I didn't do a good job of that when I started talking to you.
You're fine. Feelings are just kind of a funny thing, because I was raised by kind of stout German people that are like, suck it up, you don't show feelings, I'll beat you until you stop crying. So we're like, we finally learned. It only took a couple beatings, we're like, okay, we got this under control. But feelings are like a funny thing, because you got to somehow deal with them, and I've never really quite figured that one out. Like, where do you stuff them? Well, I stuff them in different places, then I end up stuffing my face, because I'm going to do something wrong to like try to quelch that, because we all have, you know, feelings that aren't positive. Not everyone's happy. I mean, we all have things in our life, you know. So, and I stuff it with food, which is not good, and other people do it with drugs and alcohol or whatever. The right way to do it is like going to the gym.
Yeah, or, you know, I like to go camp or hike, and it's like, if I can, I say I like to be alone for short periods. I couldn't do it for 25 years, but to me, nothing's better than a 3-day in the woods right by myself, and me and nothing but a campfire and a canoe or something like that.
Squirrels and birds
But
critters.
Is there, you know, and again, you know, can we, I don't think we talked much about it the other night, because like I said, I probably didn't handle it as professional as I should have, but can we just go through when you work with her on that Saturday, so I can, is there anything you can tell me that, did she ever talk to you about a boyfriend? I know she's got a husband. I know she had a boyfriend. Did she ever talk about anybody she was scared of? Did she ever say anything that she wanted to run away and get away from it all? I mean, you know.
I don't remember hearing anything. She would have different conversations sometimes with different clients, because different clients, you don't tell every client. You know what I mean? Like, but the one client that, what was it? The one I told you, what was it? She was saying CPS came to her house. She was telling one client that. I caught a little blip of it in between listening to YouTube and the phone ringing. And I remember hearing her say she thought her ex-husband or her husband was doing it to get out of paying child support. That's all I heard. And I don't remember ever hearing about a boyfriend ever. But then again, I don't always really pay attention. And as I told you before, Miss Ann, she really like talked to Miss Ann. Like, her and Miss Ann would go out back and they smoke cigarettes together. They sit out back sometimes for a while, and they would even forget that their clients were in. I'd have to go in the back and be like, hey, your clients are here, because they would get so involved in talking. So I don't know as much as, you know, maybe Miss Ann. And honestly, whenever I first started, she would tell me, you know, I don't even remember what, she would start to tell me some things, and I would be like, I am not the person to ask. I can't give you any good
Now,
counsel.
did she tell you who she was hanging around with, or was she into anything that maybe she shouldn't have been
She
into?
would just say to me, like, you know, the time or two that she'd say, I'm just going home and having a quiet night at home, or like, I don't have the kids tonight, or, you know, whatever, I'm just going to enjoy this. And I'd be like, you're young, why don't you go out? She's like, no, I don't need a man in my life. But here she had a boyfriend. I didn't even know that.
Was she involved in any bad habits or anything that could get her in trouble?
I can't say that she did, but I did find a bag that I believe had crystal meth in it, just a little bit in the bottom, a tiny baggie back by the back door. At first I thought, well, maybe it's Vicky's daughter, whatever her name is, Whitney, you know, because I heard she had a drug habit, but hers is opiate, and that's not crystal meth. So, and I didn't even know what it was at first. And it was actually Jolene who said, that's a drug baggie. And I'm like, really? She said, yeah, that's drugs. She goes, do you know what kind of drugs it is? I said, I don't know. It could be bath salts. They look kind of like crystals. And I ended up looking up on the internet, and I believe it was crystal meth.
How much was in? How much was in?
Just a little bit in the bottom, but enough.
Kessler plants the idea that Cummings was using drugs, possibly in a bid to make the victim seem unreliable or to take the focus off of Kessler.
As you could see, it was crystals, and I'm like, and then as I started watching YouTube videos and trying to get myself educated on drugs, you know, the behaviors and so forth, I'm like, well, maybe it was Jolene's, but at first I didn't think it was hers. I thought it was maybe Vicky's daughter, Whitney, because Whitney has a drug problem, but I didn't know exactly what at the time. And then later I found out it's Whitney likes opiates and heroin. She doesn't, you know, I don't know.
Did you guys ever hang out after work? Did you ever go anywhere together? Okay. She ever allowed to use your car? You allowed to use her car? Did you ever go anywhere together like that?
No.
Okay.
But you asked me all that before and answered before. So.
Okay.
That's all right. I mean,
I think when we were the charge you were arrested on is a grand theft auto charge. You knew that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was kind of what I was talking with you about the other day. And the reason you're charged with that is because whenever we talked about that, there's video of you dropping her car off at the Home Depot parking lot there in Yulee and walking across and going into the gate station and getting a taxi cab back down to, they had it listed as Dick's Wings, but it was back down there to where Tangles is, okay? And that's why you're charged with a grand theft auto. And I'm not trying to trick you, I'm not trying to fool you. You're opening up to me and I'm opening up to you, okay? Mm-hmm. That's the reason you're charged with that. You're not charged with anything else, okay? But something happened to Jolene, and you know, we actually sent our crime scene unit out to process Tangles, and there was some evidence there, okay? We have also, and I don't want you to think I've been fooling you, I just want to talk to you and get to know you a little bit, because I think something something that you didn't plan happened, but let me tell you what we did, okay? Because I just want to be honest with you, because I think something bad happened that you didn't intend to happen, but we have, taken a look at your car, and we went out and went to your storage unit on the island, and we did that all on a legal basis. We had search warrants for them all, okay? We've got the video of you when you go in and buy the bottle of water, you bought it on your credit card. You paid for the cab on your credit card. You used the clerk's phone to make the phone call to the cab company. We also have recovered your shoes that has Jolene's blood on your shoes. So I just want you to, if something happened that you didn't intend to happen, I want to talk to you about it. I don't think you're an evil person. I don't think you're a mean person. I think you have done one hell of a job getting through the last 25 years. And I just want you to be honest with me, you're ready to make a new start, you're ready to start over.
I don't think there's really any new start. I mean, my life, I'm 50 years old. I don't see anything foreseeable great in my life.
I mean,
Well,
I give up, man.
Well,
I give up. I'll keep breathing and praying, and that's about it.
Well, let me say,
I am
let
tired.
me put it to you this way.
I don't see anything panning out.
But
Nothing.
listen to me. You know, I get it, and
I tried as hard as I could.
I would probably
50 years.
I would probably agree with you as far as, you know, that dream life that everybody's going to have. It's probably at 50 years old with everything that you've been through. It's probably not going to happen.
No.
But I'll tell you what else what I do believe, and I'm being sincere about this. You know, because I've seen people that I've sit in here and talked to, and like I said, only one of 100 usually I'll see them 3 or 4 years later and they'll go, you know, things are great, things are much better. I haven't been in any trouble, I've turned things around. But I have seen a lot of people that when they come in here and we first start talking, they're carrying a big, heavy burden. And you've been carrying not just, I think what recently happened, you've been carrying some other burdens from what you're telling me. You know, I don't see where you want it anywhere else, but
I am.
As they list the evidence against her, Kessler becomes quiet, the flow of endless chatter suddenly drying up. When she does speak, she focuses on anything but the actual crime itself.
I can't believe it hasn't come up yet. Our computer's really that slow.
But I've seen it. They may have it in there. She may have it, but I just I want to talk to you. I don't want to keep up and keep leaving. So she may very well have that now. But I've seen people when they finally go, okay, I'm tired of running. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of being something that I'm not. And you know, even if it means that they're going to have to make some more sacrifices and some bad stuff's going to come towards them, just the weight off their shoulders. I mean, there's sometimes I sit here and you can literally see them just kind of go, and it's like, I'm ready to tell the truth. I'm ready to do this, you know. And I don't think you're bad. I don't think you're evil. I think and I got to tell you, we've talked to the owner of the business, and I know that she was kind of said some negative things to you that day. She said that she thought you were fake. She thought you were phony, and she was going to look you up. And you know.
I don't remember any of that.
Okay, that's what I was told. That's what. What's the name of the lady that she's got the heart issue that owns the.
Vicky.
Vicky. No, I'm sorry. It was not Vicky. It was. I said that wrong. I apologize. There's a Asian woman that works there a couple of days a week. She was there. She was there that day. I apologize. It was not the owner. She said that there was not so much an altercation, but just that there was some tension with you guys that last day, and she said that that's what Jolene told you. That, you know, she said she overheard that. But
did an accident happen between y'all? I mean,
hey, I think Jolene's dead, and I think you know where Jolene is, and I don't want to go tell her ex. You know, I know that she didn't have a great relationship with her ex, but I know she loved those 2 boys. I don't want them to. I dread the point, but it's going to happen. I'm going to have to tell them that their mom is gone. Okay.
And we need to know where.
But I need to at least let them be able to give her a proper. If she's out there somewhere. Her body's out there somewhere. Let us get her buried properly, or whatever final arrangements they need to take care of. You know, I just want you to think about it for a minute. We're going to find out what happened. I don't mean that in a threat. I don't mean that in a bad way. I've been here for 4 days, almost 16, 18 hours a day, because I'm going to find out where those little boys' mama is. I promise you I'm going to do that. You can help me do that, and you're the one that can make it happen right now.
No, I cannot, and I'm not. Again, whatever fury may come,
How did her blood get on your
So let me reply it this way, and you may not like the answer. I would like legal counsel. I haven't been able to call anybody. I haven't been able to call my mom, and I see how that works. And that may still continue to go on. I may not be able to call anybody. You'll just stick me in jail, and I'll just sit there, and I can't call anybody, and on we'll go. That's fine.
I can't speak for what when you were held down
I
there.
couldn't
don't know
call
if you got a chance to
anybody.
make a phone
I
call
couldn't
or not.
call my mom. I couldn't call anybody.
I
Nothing.
can assure you, when you get to our facility, we will uphold the letter of the law as far as whatever their policy is and whatever legal and rights
And I
you
don't-
have, those
okay.
will be upheld.
Well, they weren't so far, so I don't really even expect them to be. That's what I saw down there. They didn't pay attention to me. That's fine. I'm expecting that's what'll. I heard that Southern jails, that's what happened. So I'm like, I'm
That's not-
perfectly expecting it to be really bad.
That's not
So,
going to happen here. I promise you that.
Virginia Beach
So
jail, by the way, is
do
pretty
you
bad.
not want to?
It was.
Let me clarify. Do
They
you not want
extradited
to
me
talk
from
to me?
Arizona.
Do you not want to talk to me without leaving house? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Do you need a drink of water? Or do you need to go to the bathroom?
No, thank you.
Okay. You're not going to be mistreated at this facility. You will get that they will abide by your constitutional rights. If you change your mind, again, you're going to get an attorney. But if you change your mind and want to talk to me, I'm going to reunite those boys if it's nothing but with their mother's body. And I know that's a sin. I know she's dead. Okay?
All right.
If you need something, just knock on the door. We'll let you go to the restroom or get some water, whatever you want, okay?
All right, I'm good. Thank you.
Kessler exercises her right to speak with legal counsel, and the interview draws to an abrupt close. Authorities subsequently obtained surveillance footage which showed Kessler carrying heavy trash bags to a dumpster behind Tangles Hair Salon after it closed on the night of May 12th. It was later emptied by a garbage truck, its contents never retrieved. That night, Kessler was captured on security cameras at Walmart, purchasing cleaning supplies, gloves, and an electric carving knife. She then returned to the salon and continued to fill the dumpster out back with large, full trash bags. Kimberley Kessler was charged with first-degree murder. In the lead-up to her murder trial, she went on a hunger strike in an attempt to show that she was incompetent for trial. While in custody, Kessler was also charged with 2 counts of battery on a law enforcement officer after stripping nude and flinging feces at them. In December 2021, she was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Joleen Cummings and subsequently sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The body of Joleen Cummings is yet to be found.